The president telegraphed this for months, that he would take this election to the courts. With us tonight, Bhagwat, the law professor at UC Davis. Professor Bhagwat, thanks for your time. Are you seeing anything here from a legal standpoint that might convince a judge to stop the vote count?
No, not really. I've never heard of a lawsuit where vote counts are stopped.
Professor, if you're seeing this, what are Trump's lawyers and his legal advisors seeing?
I don't think the litigation here is really intended to make any difference. I think it's more strategic, designed to send a message about questioning the results of the election.
And Professor, watch with me here. President Trump tonight with what he calls illegal votes. Let's listen.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
It doesn't seem to make sense, but I'll let you take it from here. Does he have a legal standing when it comes to these legal votes and illegal votes, according to what he's saying?
No, of course not. I mean, I think he's talking about mail-in ballots, but mail-in ballots are obviously legal votes and have been for a very, very long time in the history of this country, including in Oregon. They've been voting by mail only for years. So I don't think there's anything there at all.
Professor, another issue tonight, pre-election polling. Let's take a listen.
These really phony polls, I have to call them phony polls, fake polls, were designed to keep our voters at home, create the illusion of momentum for Mr. Biden, and diminish Republicans' ability to raise funds. They were what's called suppression polls. Everyone knows that now.
All right, let's be clear here. Many of the polls were simply wrong, but rigged is a different claim. Again, from a legal point of view, does he have any legs to stand on?
No, absolutely not. I mean, first of all, yes, the polls were really wrong. I mean, once again, 4 years later, and we need to ask questions about why. But first of all, I'm confident no one did that on purpose. But second, it's not even obvious that the polls had any impact one way or another in terms of turnout. This is, after all, the highest turnout election in American history.
Professor, you mentioned something interesting. You said that maybe they don't have a legal standpoint with all these things they're bringing up. Perhaps it's just to bring more pressure to the legal system. Lindsey Graham, the senator, also Ted Cruz, just a couple hours ago, saying that all Republicans should now back up the president with these claims. Would that help the president in terms of the legal impact?
I don't see a court overturning a vote count. I just don't think that's going to happen this year. I think Bush v. Gore was unique because Florida was really tied in 2020. There was no way anyone could figure out who won. I think, however, that the Republican Party may be considering a strategy of bringing into question vote counts in close states and therefore having state legislatures step in and appoint separate electors. That seems to be what's going on, because and that might happen if the election turns on a razor-thin margin, but I don't see the litigation itself making a whole lot of sense.
And last question for you. Do the electors in the Electoral College, are they bound? Do they have to vote by what the people say in terms of the count in the state?
So that's really interesting. The Supreme Court just decided a case about that. Some states require the electors to stick to what the voters said, and the Supreme Court said that's fine, that in fact they do have to stick to it. But not all states do that, and so you could theoretically have an elector who jumps ship, but it's really rare. I don't see that happening.
Well, we are living in rare times. Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, could this happen?
I don't think so. I think that the electors on each side are pretty loyal to their candidate at this point. So no, I don't think that's a real possibility.
All right, Professor Bhagwat from UC Davis, we appreciate your time and your insight this evening.
Thank you for having me.